Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. We started this live just a couple minutes ago, and unfortunately, the sound wasn't working. Every single time OBS updates, it always erases my settings, and I always forget to go back in, correct the settings before I go live because I'm so accustomed to just having everything set the way I like it when I like it, right? It is what it is. So anyway, guys, I'm going for Dolo this weekend. It's only me in the house. The whole family decided they want to pack up and go see Beyonce because, you know, she's doing her thing down in the DMZ. So, or is it the DMV? I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, she's down there. So the family went down. They're all big Beyonce fans. It's just me alone, just me by my lonesome. And today I was supposed to work the day tour, but because of the holiday and it was short on a night tour, they tour changed me. So now I'm working the night shift tonight. So I'm like, you know what? Let me come in and give you guys a holiday show since I can't enjoy the holiday because my family left me and my job forcing me to work the night shift. So I can't even enjoy the day. So I did a couple of things in the yard and now I'm here. We're doing a holiday special. And boy, do I have a really sad show for you guys. This one's really, really interesting. I want to get it queued up so you guys see what I'm talking about. While we go through this, we react to this just crazy story. Please remember, don't forget to hit that like button and support the channel. Let's get started.
One of the UK's oldest cold case murders has finally been solved. And this 92-year-old man has been revealed as the killer nearly 6 decades later.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of the rape and murder of Louisa Dunn.
In 1967, Louisa Dunn was attacked in her home in Bristol.
Mum went in.
Yo, first of all, let's get some context to this. Number one, I love when justice happens regardless of how old a person is. There's some people who might have sympathy for this guy and say, oh, well, he lived his life and maybe he stayed out of trouble. Maybe he didn't do anything bad since he committed this. Oh, he's an old man. No. Justice must be served. But I want you to understand the context of this, right? This happened a very long time ago, 58 years ago. The victim was 76 years old and he was in his 30s. This is a horrendous crime, ladies and gentlemen, an unforgivable crime. This was a lady who was winding down her life cycle, just trying to enjoy the rest of her life, the life she had left. That's when life becomes precious for you. When you know, when mortality sets in and you understand that you really don't have a lot of time left. When you're our age, when you're in your 40s, your 50s, when you're in your teens and your 20s, barring sickness, illness, or an accident, you know that you have decades ahead of you. But when you get to her stage, you know you just have years left and it becomes so much more precious, the time that you have left. And this man decided to invade her peace, invade her space and take her life. So justice had to be served. So let's keep going.
Found her dead.
A huge manhunt ensued, but the killer was never found until now. So who is Ryland Hedley, the man behind the murder?
Immediately I heard that name, I thought, I know who that is.
It's unimaginable what she suffered.
The family sort of fell to pieces after the murder.
And how did the police finally track him down?
We got a full DNA match. Game on.
I like this. All right, so what I want to do, first of all, big shout out to Channel 4 News for putting together this like mini documentary. We're going to switch over though to The Mirror. Big shout out to The Mirror because The Mirror is going to show us like the whole body-worn camera interaction. We're going to come back to that, to Channel 4 News and their documentary, but I want to just fast forward real quick so we can see like the actual first contact that was made between law enforcement and this perpetrator.
I can do so in very short terms. You will never be released. You will die in prison.
Good morning. Could you open the door, please? Just like to speak to you. What? Could you open the door, please? Okay. Thank you very much.
Who are you?
I'll explain. I'm from the police.
You what?
I'm from the police.
What?
Good morning. Hello. I'm from the police.
What's here?
I'm from the police. My name's Naomi Main.
Yo, it's so funny how different the British handle these type of situations. Like, we're not doing that. Like here in America, man, like if we would have had a search warrant, I mean, not a search, we'd have a search warrant too, but we'd have had an arrest warrant for this guy, 92 years old or 14 years old. We'd have broke that door down and dragged that dude out of that house. But I'm not saying they do anything wrong, because obviously nobody got hurt. Everything was safe. Everything was cool, you know, like, but wow, like they're always so polite. Listen to the interaction these folks have.
I'm a detective. May I come in, please?
No, you can't come now. I'm just come now. Where you want to come in for?
I'll explain, because it's a bit sensitive. So we'd like to come in and speak to you properly, please.
All right, so once this door open, right, I'm opening the door, right? So, of course, you know, depending on the situation, let me not exaggerate. We're not going to knock down every single door and drag every person out. Come on. Let me not be fair to my profession. We are not barbarians. We're not disrespectful. We are professional, and we always conduct ourselves in a professional manner, all right? So let me not exaggerate too much, because there's some people who take me literally and be like, oh, see, this is why I hate the police, because they do stuff like that. No, not at all. So we knock on the door. Let's say I'm the one who's investigating this case in America, because I'm not from the UK. I'm gonna knock on the door. He's 92 years old. The moment he opens this door, though, I'm now going to take control of the door, because they have an arrest warrant for this guy. So I'm not going to say, hey, can you open the door a little bit more, please? Can we come inside, please? I'm not going to do none of that. I'm going to open the door like, listen, sir, we have a warrant for your arrest. I'm going to put his hands behind his back and take him into custody. So it's just amazing, once again, how differently, though, different parts of the world function when it comes to policing as compared to America.
May I come in to speak to you properly?
I mean, I've just got up. I'm old man.
I'm sorry, it's quite early.
I'm very sick. Not well at all.
You're not well?
No.
Okay.
What do you want? What is it about?
I'll tell you inside, because we don't want other people hearing. So can we just come in and get you seated and have a chat? Thank you very much. It's Mr. Hedley, yes?
Eh?
Mr. Hedley?
Yeah.
Ryland Hedley, lovely. Thank you very much. This is my colleague Joe. We've just got a camera recording as well, just so you're aware. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm here today because I'm arresting you on suspicion of the rape and murder of Louisa Dunn, which happened in Bristol in June 1967. Yeah. The reason I'm arresting you is because the police have investigative material that indicates you are responsible for that rape and murder of Mrs. Dunn, which happened at Britannia Road in Easton, Bristol, June 1967. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you don't mention, when questioned, something that you later rely in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. I need to do this.
Where get all this from?
We have investigative information, so we have material that suggests that it's yourself, and we need to basically arrest you and take...
I mean, listen, what I'm about to say is going to make no sense, right? But it makes sense to me. Like, I'm going to say, why can't people have more honor? But then again, if you had honor, you wouldn't sneak into a 76-year-old woman's window, abuse her, take her life, and then keep it moving. But like, you're 90, he's 92 years old. You only have maybe a year to 5 years left on this planet statistically. First of all, you broke all statistics and you're living longer than most human beings. But realistically, you have a year to 5 years left on this planet. Why not just say, you know what? You got me, man. You got me. I did it. You got me. It's time to pay for what I did. What's wrong with that? So you spend the next year to 5 years in prison before you die from natural causes? I mean, come on, man. Like, it just really irks me that people will lie to the very end. Big shout out to David, moderator of the True Crime Strategic Eyes show, with a $20 super chat, says, Happy Independence Day to my fellow Americans. Absolutely. Happy Independence Day. You guys know that I am a big patriot. I love this country, man. This is the best country on the planet. I know we got an international audience. I'm pretty sure you'd say the same thing about your country, but the United States of America is the best country on the planet, man, and I love it. Anybody could be anything in this country. We had our hardships, and the beautiful thing about America is that we fight through it. We're not cowards, man. No matter what adversity is in front of this country, whether it be racism, gender stuff, left and right stuff, it doesn't matter. We find a way to power through and set the example for the entire world. And I love this country, and I'm proud to be an American. And man, listen, happy Independence Day to all you beautiful people. Woo, man. God bless America. Let's keep going.
You to the custody so that we can conduct an interview with you, so we can hear your event and interview about it.
Into what?
Interview you about it and get your account.
Our job this side of the desk is to look after your rights, your entitlements and your welfare. So that's what I'll be doing today. The officers will be carrying out an investigation, there'll be an interview and things that need to happen. But I need to go through a certain amount of things with you whilst you're here at the desk. You've been arrested before? Have you been arrested before? You have? Okay. I need to find out why you're here to start with, so you're going to have to bear with me, alright? And then I'll need to go through some questions. Like I say, my job is to look after you whilst you're here with us, nothing more, alright?
So we have investigative material and therefore believe that Mr. Hedley committed the rape and murder of a lady called Mrs. Louisa Dunn, which occurred in June 1967.
Damn. It's an old case, man.
At Britannia Road in Bristol.
So linked forensically.
Yeah.
Why did you go through the upstairs window?
No comment.
Is it because you wanted to go into the bedroom?
No comment.
Okay. So, what has then made you come back out of that window and go in via a different window instead?
No comment.
Okay.
No comment.
You look a bit confused by that. Do you want to ask me something?
He said, no, and you often climbed up 2 windows at this and that people's house. No comment.
No comment.
No in this question, No comment.
So when police have attended the following day, they've noticed that the bedrooms upstairs have locks on them inside the corridor. So if you had entered via that upstairs window, you would have been trapped in the bedroom. Is that why you then came back out?
No comment.
And went through a different window?
No comment.
Did this not
somebody, Hannah from the UK says no comment is our version of the fifth. Ah, okay, that makes sense.
happen? You can tell me if this is rubbish and it didn't happen.
No comment.
Okay. Because remember, this is your opportunity to give us your account. And if you didn't do this, this is your time to tell us.
No comment. I didn't. No comment.
You didn't.
No comment.
And on the upstairs window, when police attended the next day, there was a handprint or partial handprint found on the window. Obviously, you've had your handprints taken today while you've been in custody. When we compare those, do you think they're going to match?
No comment.
Okay. Could it be your handprint?
No comment.
Is there any legitimate reason why it might be your handprint?
No comment.
Because if you didn't do this, have you ever been there for any other reason that would explain why your handprint might be there?
No comment.
Okay.
We're going to give away... let's start with 5. 5 free gift memberships to the Patreon. The reason why I only give for the Patreon because that's the one that I can give away. So 5 free gift memberships for the Patreon. And I think I'm going to do 5 free gift memberships to the membership as well. I don't know if anybody wants to join me in the chat, but I definitely going to give away 5 free gift memberships to the Patreon, 5 free gift memberships to the membership as we go through this stream as a celebration for 4th of July. Let's keep going.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what happened next. Okay, so once you've gone in, or somebody has gone in, we believe it.
All right, I'm sorry. Sorry to stop it one last time. I just have to say this for your benefit. For you to be selected for the random free gift membership of the membership. You have to go into your settings and you have to click that you're willing to accept gift memberships. Don't ask me where you find that. It's somewhere in your YouTube settings. That's why a lot of people who participate in the chat are not getting the gift memberships, okay? Make sure that your settings are set to on for you to accept those gift memberships. If you don't know how to do it, search it up on Google, whatever. I don't know how to do it because I'm the content creator. I never had to do it, but I want you to get your gift membership, okay? So make sure that setting is on. Let's continue.
Through that window, Louisa has been attacked. Can you tell me about that?
No comment.
Where did you find her in the house?
No comment.
Or did she find you, maybe?
No comment.
Okay. How did she react to seeing you in the house?
No comment.
Did you have the impression you were welcome?
No comment.
Wow. That's an interesting
question. Was there any
question.
conversation between you and Louisa?
No comment.
Okay. Was she expecting you?
No comment.
There were a number of people nearby who heard a scream in the early hours of the morning.
No comment.
Did Louisa scream?
No comment.
What made her scream?
No comment.
Can you tell me how Louisa died?
No comment.
Did she die as a result of your actions?
No comment.
And if so, what were your actions?
No comment.
Was it an accident?
No comment.
Rylan Hedley, you've been found guilty by the jury of the murder of Louisa Dunn and of her rape, offences committed on the same occasion as long ago as 1967. I want to say something at the outset about the woman you killed. At the time of her death, on the 27th or 28th of June of 1967, Mrs. Dunn was a 74-year-old widow living in her own home at 58 Britannia Road, Eastern Bristol. She'd lived in this house for many years. She was born in 1892.
Wow, 1892.
As a young woman, she was involved in the birth of the labour movement and its mission to improve the lives of ordinary working people. Mrs. Dunn had been married twice in her lifetime. Her first husband, Edward Parker, was a notable figure in Bristol, serving as an alderman and being a leading light in the Labour Party. He died in 1945. This marriage produced two daughters, Iris and Edna. Her granddaughter, Mary Dayton, recalls that her mother spoke of Edward's deep love and affection for Louisa. Their home was a hub of social and political activity during this period. Mrs. Dunn led a simple life, supported by her old age pension and supplementary allowance. She did not possess any amount of money in the house, nor any valuables. Her few treasured possessions included her books and the deeds to her house. You broke into her home. You sexually assaulted her, and in doing so, you caused her death. You may not have intended to kill, but you planned to rape her, and you brutally attacked her when you did so.
Yo, did you guys hear it? Like this? That's just diabolical. Because what the judge just do I need to? I mean, we in British court right now. You know, what's wrong with me? How dare I? I gotta get ready. We in. All right, that's better. All right, so what the judge just described is her unaliving was caused by his diabolical deeds. You guys know I got to talk like this because we're on YouTube. We was on a Patreon, I just say it. So that just is another element of the barbarity of this guy's actions. I mean, it's bad enough that he did what he did, right? But I thought that he purposed, because I'm reacting to this raw and fresh with you guys. I saw like the first 2 minutes of the other video, and I was like, all right, I want to just go live with this one. So in my head, in my imagination, I'm like, okay, maybe he, does blunt force trauma or something, or used a edged weapon, or a gun or something like that. I'm thinking like that's how she passed away. No, she passed away as a result of the SA, because she's 74 years old. She's fragile. She's frail. She's old. She's sickly. I mean, I'm not saying every 74-year-old, we do have an older, mature audience. I'm not saying every 74-year-old is fragile and sickly. We're talking about this victim in particular. And then remember, back then, we don't have the modern medicine that we have now, where people are walking around 70, 80 years old running marathons. Like, this is 58 years ago, right? This is horrible. Let's keep going.
You met her screams and struggles with force sufficient to kill. Diligent work by the police and forensic evidence, particularly the DNA match, definitively linked you to this crime after decades when you must have thought that you had avoided detection. The palm print found at the scene, now identified as yours, provided further evidence of your presence and attempts to gain entry through a window. I commend the Crown Prosecution Service, the police and the forensic scientists for their hard work and professionalism in investigating and bringing this case to trial. The nature of these offences demonstrates a complete disregard for human life and dignity.
Wait. First of all, I just dropped the 5 free gift membership for the Patreon in the chat, but I didn't advertise it. Let me see if people collected it, because I got something else coming for you guys. I want to see something here. All right, so everybody collected that. We have 0 memberships left because everybody got it. But then I do owe you 5 gift membership to our membership on YouTube. But David's got a birthday coming up on Monday. Once again, David, longtime supporter of True Crime with Strategic, before we were even a true crime show, when we were talking about politics and stuff like that. David has supported me for a very long time. So in the name of David, not the Bible David, but the chat David, we're going to give 5 more free gift memberships to the Patreon in the name of David's birthday. And this one I will announce so that you guys can know that it's in the chat and you can go ahead and get it. All right, so let's keep going.
Mrs. Dunn was vulnerable. She was a small, elderly woman living alone. You exploited that vulnerability. You treated her as a means to an end. The violation of her home, her body, and ultimately her life was a pitiless and cruel act by a depraved man. The rape of Mrs. Dunn before her murder places the offending in the most serious category. You violated the sanctity and safety of Mrs. Dunn's own home, where she had every right to feel secure. The method of killing by strangulation and pressure to the mouth, causing injuries to her face, eyes, and neck, indicates a high degree of violence and cruelty. She must have experienced considerable pain and fear before her death. In the course of the trial, the court has heard evidence about your subsequent criminal conduct, specifically the rapes and burglaries committed in 1977 and between 1973 and 1978.
Oh, man.
These offences involve the invasion of other elderly women's homes.
See, this is what happened when we're not tough on crime. Now, the first one with this victim here, the 74-year-old, they didn't catch him, so I get it. But this guy continued in a life of crime with the same MO, going after elderly women. And yet he's 92 years old, living free? Make that make sense. I'm telling you, across this world, we need capital punishment for these type of crimes. This man should not even be alive right now, to be honest with you. But let's keep going.
And sexual assaults. They reveal a chilling pattern of behaviour.
Wow.
I'm grateful for the assistance and research of all counsel. The tariff which would have been set was lower than the minimum term which would be imposed today. I've taken the rape into account as a feature which makes the murder all the more serious, and I do not therefore impose any separate penalty. For the murder of Louisa Jane Dunn, the sentence must be one of life imprisonment. Having considered all the aggravating features of this case, including the impact on Louisa Dunn's family, who have waited decades for justice, the minimum term I impose is 20 years. You will be entitled to credit for the time spent on
20
remand,
years,
which can be calculated separately. It is normally necessary to
the British got to do better, man. The British really have to do better. I love my British brothers and sisters. You know, they're part of the Western world. I embrace Western society. I think that the world is great because of Western society. Is it flawed? Of course it is. Do we have problems? Yeah, we're human beings. We're all flawed. I'm flawed. You're flawed. The judge is flawed. We're all flawed because we're human beings. But Western society has made this world livable where we can at least enjoy our version of freedom, right? But this is not justice. I get it. This guy will perish in prison because of his age. But I would not want to live in a society, and I'm no disrespect to my British brothers and sisters who are watching this, but I don't want to live in a society where you can unalive and essay somebody at an advanced age of 74. In America, in some law enforcement, in my outfit, we call that a special category, which means you get more time. And the punishment is 20 years in prison. 20 years in prison? So if he was 20 years old and he did this, he would be out when he's 40? Nah, man. That should either be a capital punishment or life without the possibility of parole, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, as I told you guys, I'm going to drop that not 5, but 10 free gift memberships to the Patreon in the name of David. Happy birthday, David. First of all, happy 4th of July to all my fellow Americans out there. And on Monday, my man David is going to turn whatever age he is. So in the name of David, happy birthday. And here are 10 gift memberships to the Patreon. Go get them, people. Let's keep going.
Explain the effect of such a minimum term in detail. But given your age, and for all practical purposes, I can do so in very short terms. You will never be released. You will die in prison.
Close to the mic, sir.
All right, I want to go back to the other one. They're going to do their press conference. Big shout out to Rhiannon October. The Nightbot moderated you, but you didn't say anything wrong, man. So don't worry about it. It's just an automated system. You use caps, and the Nightbot doesn't like when people use caps. But I did see your message, and I appreciate you. Thanks for joining us on this live. But guys, try not to use caps because we do have people who try and spam the chat with caps. So we do have it set that Nightbot will moderate when people use caps in excess, okay? I'm reading the chat. You don't have to use caps to get my attention. I'm going to see it because I'm very engaged with the chat. Now, let's listen to a little bit of this press conference, and I want to go back and see a little bit of the documentary as to what got them to this conviction.
Good afternoon. My name is Detective Inspector Dave Marchant, and I'm with the Major Crime Review Team in Avon and Somerset Police. Today, 92-year-old Ryland Hedley has been found guilty of the murder and rape of Louisa Dunn, whose body was found at her home in Bristol 58 years ago. Louisa, aged 75, also known as Louise, was found dead in her home on Britannia Road, Easton, by a neighbour on Wednesday the 28th of June in 1967. The cause of death was determined to be strangulation and asphyxiation. She had also been raped. A re-review of the case began in 2023, with our officers later sending off for items for forensic analysis, including Louisa's blue skirt, which she'd been wearing at the time she was attacked. As a result of these examinations, a full DNA profile was obtained. This profile was compared to the national database and found to be a match with Ryland Hedley, whose profile was placed onto the system in 2012 following an unconnected and unrelated incident. He was arrested following a police operation in November 2024 was taken into custody in Ipswich and interviewed by our officers. He was later charged and remanded and into custody to appear in court. Following
all right, I had enough of that. I want to see the documentary. Let's go on over there, guys. All right.
In the Avon and Somerset Police Archives lies its vast collection of investigations. Its cold cases are here, containing the files of more than 30 unsolved murders. One of them, that of Louisa Dunn in 1967. A case long considered by some unsolvable, but reopened in February 2024 by a new cold case team.
It was a very interesting one for me, just on the fact that there had been no forensic examinations undertaken before, so that really sort of pricked my ears up and made me think, what could we have here?
Bristol, in the southwest of England, in the swinging 60s. In June 1967, Harold Wilson is Prime Minister, and his Home Secretary, Roy Jenkins, visits the city's new state-of-the-art police headquarters. But as the VIPs tour the control room, another story dominates the headlines. A 75-year-old woman has been murdered, raped and strangled in her home in the eastern area of the city. Her name is Louisa Dunn, and she lived on Britannia Road.
All right, we still have 2 slots left on that gift membership for the Patreon. Some people think, oh, I would never get it, and don't click that link. Yeah, there's 2 available, so go get it. 8 people have claimed it so far. 2 are available.
This here is where Mrs. Dunn lived a long time ago.
Tony Allen remembers Louisa Dunn very well.
Has it changed much?
As a teenager, he lived across the street from her.
I can picture her here. She was, she'd come out and stand there, always a big black fur coat.
It was his mother who found Louisa's body.
Shouted, knocked, no answer. And she climbed up on the sill there and could peek through the top and see that Miss Dunn was on the floor. And then Mum climbed in through, opened the window and climbed through. And then they got the door open and Mum went in. And it was, found her dead.
Yeah, that's real sad.
One neighbour heard a piercing scream in the night but saw nothing. These crime scene images from the time show a ground floor back window where the killer broke in, the back room where he then rifled through drawers, and from the outside the front room where he strangled Louisa, it's thought, with a scarf. She was found on the floor with bruises to her neck, blood in her ear. Her underwear was around her ankles.
It's unimaginable, what she suffered in her own home where she should have felt safe. I've seen the photos as part of the investigation. They are horrific. I can't even begin to comprehend how terrified she must have been, having an intruder within her own home, attacking her, raping her and ultimately killing her.
The family sort of fell to pieces after the murder. And I didn't realise that was what was happening at the time, but I do now.
Mary Dainton is Louisa Dunn's only surviving grandchild. She also lives in Bristol, and at the time of the murder was a 20-year-old art student in the city.
This is a photo album of the photos that I have left of my grandfather and my grandmother.
Louisa Dunn's was a life stretching all the way back to a different Victorian era. In Bristol's then booming tobacco factories, she found...
Hey guys, I'm working on that gift membership right now, so that's what's taking a little bit of my attention. I want to definitely hook you guys up, so let's keep watching together while I work on this gift membership.
And work. She married a local trade unionist and alderman, Teddy Parker. Together they became leading lights in the city's labour movement. This is one of the last photos of her as Teddy, in declining health, is carried in his hospital bed to vote in Labour's seismic 1945 election victory.
In the photographs I have of her, she's always with my grandfather. She's never on her own. She's nearly always in the second row. And that's where I got the idea that maybe it was a difficult life, being second, in the second row to a man who was very clever and very powerful and very idealistic.
But Teddy died young, and by the 60s, remarried, then widowed again, Louisa's life in Bristol was unrecognisable from before. Now an alcoholic, alone and estranged from her daughters.
Oh my gosh, that sucks, man. I mean, when you're dealing with that level of trauma, you know, especially, well, you know, oftentimes women outlive men, and so you find who you believe to be the love of your life, you lose them due to illness and life or whatever, accident, who knows, and then you try and start all over again, and then boom, the same thing happens yet again. I could see how that could really tear a person down and make them get into things like alcoholism, etc. That's very, very traumatic. That's a lot of loss, man.
Very sad part of it. She was struggling. She was alone and she was very vulnerable.
Yeah.
I mean, she was so frail. There's no way she would have, yeah. I just can't believe anybody would do it.
It must have been absolutely terrifying. And the reality of a rape, I don't like thinking about. I don't think anybody does.
The murder of Louisa Dunn sends shockwaves throughout the city. A huge manhunt follows. Leading the inquiry is the city's then head of CID, Reg Hicks.
What do you think makes a good detective? Have you ever thought about that yourself?
I don't know, it's very difficult. It's loyalty and comradeship, really, and never look at the clock.
Hicks issues appeals across the city. He assembles an inquiry team of more than 90 officers. One of them, a detective constable just starting out in CID.
Had quite an effect, I think, on Bristol. I sensed at the time, and I can remember it now, there was a deep concern about it. It was a nasty sort of murder in a way. I remember that feeling. Everybody was, and the briefings. I can remember the briefings, which were always push, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. Yes, I do remember that a lot.
So it says here,
the 10th of July, Monday,
1967.
Attached to the murder inquiry.
Ernest Bussell, Constable.
74B.
Ernie Bussell, now 85, still has his old police pocketbooks. On house-to-house inquiries, he worked...
All right, real quick, 5 gift memberships, man. Whoever... actually, Hannah from the UK got one. She was giving us some insight into how things work in the UK, so that's awesome that you randomly got a gift membership. But for all the 5 people who got a random gift membership, congratulations and welcome to the family, to True Crime Strategic. Appreciate you. All right, let's keep going.
12-hour shifts. He too remembers the urgent briefings.
Keep going, keep interviewing, get as much as information as you can. And of course, we were getting very, very little. Very little.
But detectives did unearth one vital clue. Recovered from a window at the back of Louisa Dunn's house, a palm print from the suspect.
The palm print was the cornerstone of the original investigation. There was no descriptions of someone suspicious seen living nearby or leaving the address for them to work from. So the palm print was basically it.
It triggered the biggest palm and fingerprinting operation the city had ever seen. Targeting at first every male in the eastern area aged between 14 and 60. Dirk Aldous was in the midst of it all.
We'd introduce ourselves to them, say we're from the murder investigation team, had they heard about the lady who'd been murdered and so on, have that sort of a conversation with them, find out who lived there, how many people lived there.
More than 8,000 people, remarkably, were interviewed by detectives.
And then we just work our way around to saying, do you have any objection to giving us your fingerprints, and your palm print? I had a roller, I had an old roller and an ink pad, a brass ink pad, and I had bottles of ink, and they had to wash their hands afterwards. I mean, it was that sort of a system.
And where would you take the prints?
Oh, they'd go back into the murder investigation room. Yeah, everything would go back through there.
The investigation widened to Ireland, even to Canada, as more and more forces got involved. In total, more than 19,000 palm prints were checked, but still nothing. The inquiry eventually shut down. Louisa Dunn's murderer had slipped the net. Over the decades, how did you reconcile in your own mind the fact that your grandmother had been murdered and yet no one had been caught?
That's a really difficult thing to answer. Very difficult thing. I accepted it. I accepted that some murders just never get solved. And some people just have to live with that emptiness and that sadness. That's my mother.
Mary says her mother had a breakdown, banning any discussion of the murder.
She never talked about it at all. And my dad never talked about it. I think he had also been told by her, you don't do that.
Taken from the scene that we still had and that were recovered from the archive.
There'd been some attempts in the past to re-examine the case, but a new review team was in place. Among items sent for the very first time for forensic testing was the blue skirt Louisa Dunn had been wearing that night. Could it contain any traces of semen and a suspect's DNA?
The first thing that they would do in the lab is an acid phosphatase test where they put sort of filter paper over the skirt and spray it to obviously see if there's any reaction that gives them an indication that there might be semen present. And that was negative initially.
But then a forensic scientist cut out sections of the skirt. He used a chemical washing process to detect sperm cells. And this time it was positive, yielding a full DNA profile.
Oh my God, after 58 years.
It was just goosebumps, and I still get those now, from September last year when I remember that call. But at that point I didn't know whether that person was dead or alive. We knew nothing, just that it had hit against a profile on the National DNA Database.
I see people vibing in the comment section about being recovering addicts, man. Big shout out to all the recovering addicts out there. We are so proud of you that you're staying sober and that you're living your life on a straight and narrow and putting yourself first. So big shout out. I know it's a little off topic on what we're discussing right now, watching this very sad documentary, but I just want to give that love out there to everybody who may have fallen on the wayside with addiction and are now pulling their life together and definitely living their life the best way that they can. All right, let's keep going.
So I went to my forensic submissions team and a match report had gone through to their email address. And that's when I first heard the name Ryland Hedley. It just makes me go cold. Yeah.
And when you found out he was alive?
Game on. We've got a full DNA match.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I was on a bus, off to go and buy some art equipment, and my husband rang me and said, the police are here, they want to talk to you. Can they come and pick you up?
Mary was met by 2 officers and taken back home.
She said, this is about your grandmother. And I said, have they caught him? This came out, I never thought I'd say anything like that. Have you caught him? And she said, we have a suspect. So I sat there completely stunned.
Finally, after nearly 6 decades, a murder suspect emerges.
I'm from the police. Good morning, hello. I'm from the police. Mr. Hedley?
Yeah. in the ageing shape of a 92-year-old man originally from Jamaica, living in Ipswich, called Ryland Hedley.
You've been arrested before? Have you been arrested before? You have, okay.
Nasty.
His DNA
Nasty
went on the
old man.
database following an unrelated incident in Ipswich 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Fingerprints too, but crucially not his palm prints. He claimed apparently arthritis in his wrists meant his hands weren't flexible enough to give the prints.
I asked the police.
See, in America, we could have got a search warrant for his palm prints and took them from him. Give me your hands. Put the hand on this paper right now. So I guess they can't do that in the UK. But in America, we'd have just got a search warrant like, all right, well, you're going to be in a lot of pain today because we're taking those palm prints, man, whether you like it or not. Let's keep going.
Was he married? Did he have children? And they weren't allowed to say. All they could say was he's had a life.
Was there any conversation between you and Louisa?
No comment.
No comment.
There were a number of people nearby who heard a scream in the early hours of the morning.
No comment, man.
Did Louisa scream?
No comment.
No comment, man.
What made her scream?
No comment.
Don't worry, be happy, no comment.
At one point, he laughs dismissively when asked about breaking in through different windows in Louisa's house.
You look a bit confused by that. Do you want to ask me something?
He said, no, and you often climbed up 2 windows of this and that, people's house. No
Windows
comment.
and this and that.
With no in this question, you know.
Ryland Hedley's wife died 10 years ago. He has 3 children and 1 stepchild.
Nasty man.
Much of his working life was spent on the railways.
See, guess what? His wife and his children were safe because that's not his MO. This nasty man, he like going after old ladies. He's a nasty man that like old octogenarians. So those kids were safe. That wife was safe. They probably had no idea that their dad was a nasty man. Unbelievable.
He was so quiet, an old family friend recalled to us, he was barely noticed.
That's how they like to be. Those
So Louisa was
sociopaths.
found, as I said, lying on the floor in that same room, having been raped. She also had a scarf on her neck and a stocking. I think the scarf was underneath her neck, round the back, and the stocking over the top.
No.
Okay. Can you tell me how those items got there?
No comment.
Did you use those items to strangle Louisa?
No comment.
To nearly every question, it's the same answer. But however strong a case the police think they have, Ryland Hedley is about to take this to trial, denying any involvement whatsoever. And suddenly, a whole new light is also being shed on another major crime story lost in the passage of time.
Very sad stuff.
It is now 10 years since the murder of Louisa Dunn in Bristol, and here, another police force is in a race against time. A manhunt is underway for a sex attacker. Elderly women are told to lock their doors. Experts warn the rapist could kill if not stopped. He has already raped 2 elderly women, breaking into their homes in the middle of the night.
You see, this I'm interested in right here because they're talking about the same guy because we know that he got arrested before for going after elderly women. What I want them to answer right now, and then we'll end this live because I got to go take a shower and I got to get to work, is how much time did they give him? How much time did our British brothers and sisters across the pond give this predator after they caught him for getting 2 elderly women? I want to know because this is crazy. There's no reason why this guy should have been free. Like, this guy had a whole family and watched his family grow old. Like, how much time did they give this guy for being a serial elderly rapist? Let's keep going.
One was 84, the other 79.
Yeah, this is East Ipswich,
Trevor Mason was a special branch detective at the time. He was brought into the investigation alongside many others.
There was uniformed officers were brought in, special branch, drug squad, fraud squad, intelligence. We just about dropped everything and came in to help.
So it was huge in that respect?
Oh, it was massive, absolutely massive. There was undoubtedly a fear that someone might be next. And that's why the pressure was on to make the arrest.
As in Bristol, prints found at the scenes trigger a vast operation. The hunt for a suspect extends across the city. Within weeks, they collect the fingerprints of 5,000 men.
5,000?
A 45-year-old called Ryland Hedley. He's charged after his prints match those of the rapist. Hedley later pleads guilty to both rapes and multiple burglaries and is jailed for life.
Okay.
Court transcripts lay bare in harrowing detail his elderly victims' accounts of what he did to them, what he said to them.
So why he's free?
This is the first time Trevor Mason has seen them.
She is aged 80, a widowed lady.
Damn.
She lives alone at the address given on the evening. She tried to push his hands away and indeed tried to bite the man's fingers. But this old lady had false teeth which were not in.
Oh my God.
She was crying at this stage and he removed her bed clothes and said, "Take your knickers off." She said, "Please go away and leave me alone." And he said, "If you don't, I will strangle you."
Oh Lord.
This time the lady was aged 79. Again, a widowed lady living on her own at the address given. "Come on, I'm going to make love to you. Come on and get it over."
Damn.
She commented that she was terrified at this and she could hardly speak. She tried to scratch his face, but he backed away. She made an attempt to reach for the bedside lamp and he got both of her wrists quite tightly. He was hurting her arms. She tried to wriggle away.
Damn.
He then wound the corner of a sheet around her wrists and pushed her arms and hands up to her right shoulder. "Leave me alone," said the lady. "Would you like anybody to do this to your mother or sisters?"
He doesn't
Terrible.
care. He doesn't
Really,
care. He's a
really
monster.
bad.
So that was the man that you were after?
That's the man we were after.
Right.
And thank goodness we
Listen,
found.
listen, you guys are gonna get mad at me, but I don't really care. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you don't know by now that Strategic does not care what anybody thinks about him, much less people on the internet, then you're on the wrong channel. I don't care what you think about me, and I'm about to say something that might upset some of you. He's 92 years old. I hope they get him in prison. I don't care about his advanced age. I hope they make him pay for what he did. He is a waste of space. He's a waste of space. I don't care about his family. I don't care about his kids. I don't care about his wife. Well, his wife passed away, so we'll leave her alone. I don't care how they feel. I don't care about how his grandkids feel, because they may love Granddad. Granddad is a monster. I hope in prison that somebody gives him the business and makes him pay, because he is a monster. A old monster. And it doesn't matter if you're a young monster or old monster, you're still a monster and you still need to pay. All right. Big shout out to A Obsidian with a 5-gift membership. Please make sure you thank her for giving you free memberships to the membership. So thank you so much, A Obsidian, for supporting the channel. She's also a moderator. She helps us moderate, and she also is a part of the research crew. So we appreciate you, A Obsidian, for all the support that you give to the channel. But Lord of mercy, somebody give this old fart the business in those UK jails.
But despite the horror of these attacks set out in the transcripts here, this case was not over. Hedley appealed his life sentence. He claimed it was excessive for a man previously of good character and reputation and no other convictions.
Where's the good character and reputation? And the UK listened to that? They was like, yeah, we agree. Let's reduce his sentence. Oh, boy.
Judges examined again his barrister's claims that the rapes were so far out of character that it is most difficult, if not impossible, to explain them, amidst other evidence. It's incredible now, reading this account of a psychiatrist arguing that Hedley had shown no evidence of violence, that his rapes had been impulsive while in a state of sexual frustration in his marriage, and that even by choosing elderly women to target, somehow that rendered him less of a threat. His former clean record, he said, and the unusual circumstances both in his marriage and choice
this is why a lot of that psychological stuff is a crock. It's a crock. How are you going to look at somebody's brain and figure it out? It's a crock. Did you guys hear what the psychologist just said? He just made excuses for this dude because he had problems in his marriage. And the fact that he went after elderly women makes him less of a threat to society. Do you guys hear this? And a judge read this report and agreed with him.
Victims offer society less continued potential danger than others guilty of this type of offence. The appeal succeeded. Hedley's life sentence was reduced to 7 years.
7
years!
Be
free once again. The rape and murder of Louisa Dunn, a decade earlier, still unsolved.
The trial has begun of a 92-year-old man accused of the rape and murder of a woman in the eastern area of Bristol.
Yo, Erica B said it right. So the elderly are less human? They value these ladies' torturous experience and trauma at just 7 years. Somebody in the chat said the average life sentence is like 18 and a half years that you actually serve. That would have been more justice than 7 years. 7 years. Wow.
Approaching the 58th anniversary of Louisa Dunn's murder, a trial opens. The gap between murder and prosecution, the longest it's thought in British legal history. Only one witness from the time, a doctor, is still alive to give evidence.
And Kathy is hilarious. She said, I won't be moving to the UK too soon. I'm getting too old to be human. Because listen, once you become like 70 in the UK, you just become cannon fodder. That's it. Like you just cannon fodder. You don't matter, man.
But before the jury is sworn,
somebody said, "What's with the wig?" We're in the UK court, man. This is court. This is the UK. We're doing a UK show right now. Don't disrespect the UK justice system.
Will they, as the prosecution want, be told about Hedley's rape convictions in Ipswich? A judge must decide. Hedley appears in the dock, expressionless, as the brutality he inflicted upon two elderly women in 1977 is set out before the judge. And what he did to them, the judge has just said, has such striking and chilling similarities to what Hedley's accused of doing to Louisa Dunn 10 years earlier, that jurors, he's concluded, can be told. In the days following, the DNA evidence is presented. So too the area where he lived at the time of the murder, Picton Street in nearby Montpellier. Just outside the mass fingerprinting zone. Jurors are shown how ridge characteristics of the palm prints he gave last year match those found at the scene in 1967.
Is there any legitimate reason why it might be your handprint?
No comment.
And they have read to them the statements of the two elderly women he raped in Ipswich. Hedley's barrister spoke on his behalf, arguing he had nothing to do with the events in Bristol in 1967.
Lock his ass up
Monday,
too.
The 30th of
you
June.
lying for a nasty, dirty old man rapist. If you're gonna give friendship and solace to a rapist, you need to get locked up too. Shoot. Lock his wife up for staying with him after he freaking did that to those two old ladies and got 7 years, and she gave him children too. She should be locked up too.
2 days after the 58th anniversary of Louisa Dunn's murder, her granddaughter hears the jury's verdicts. Guilty on both counts of rape and murder.
Since Ryland Hedley was charged, I've struggled emotionally in ways I did not anticipate, and it falls to me to speak for people who are no longer here. It saddens me deeply that all the people who knew and loved Louisa are not here to see that justice is done.
Ryland Hedley has left a legacy of misery and pain through his offending, and likely thought he'd got away with Louisa's murder until officers knocked on his door last November.
Amen.
Crimes of this magnitude should never go unpunished, and we remain relentless in ensuring we do everything we can to advance other unsolved murder cases in the Avon and Somerset area.
Get him in prison,
Are you
man.
at all sad in any way on leaving the force today with any particular crimes unsolved?
Yes. I've had since I've been a chief superintendent, we had the old lady, Louise Dunn, at Easton in 1967. I should like to think that someone would come forward with some very vital information.
Who killed Louisa Dunn? A question which haunted a British police force for nearly 6 decades finally has its answer.
Why does a case like this matter? Because some people might think it's just very old, very historical.
Nah, it matters.
I think it matters. I think it matters very much.
It's never too late for justice.
The passage of time doesn't make any difference to anything when it comes to it.
Justice must be served, man. I agree 100%. Justice must be served. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Justice must be served.
To me, anyway, when it comes to something which is quite so heinous as this. So, the fact that he's caught is really important, and I think that people can have some confidence, the public can have some confidence that these sort of people will be caught eventually.
Yeah.
But now detectives confront another harrowing question. What else might this murderer and serial rapist, so barely noticed as that old family friend put it, be hiding from his past?
He's alive.
Work, say the police, is ongoing.
This man never stopped. He never stopped. The only time he stopped was 7 years while he was locked up in UK prison. Guarantee you there are other victims. Especially when you're dealing with elderly, older people. A lot of them come from, a different... They spent their formidable years in a different time, a different era. Many of his victims may not have reported what happened to them out of shame, cultural shame. Many of them. Some of them may not have even had their mental faculties. They may have been in mental decline. Maybe they weren't believed when they reported it, or maybe they did not believe that what happened to them actually happened because of their mental decline. There's so many different variables. I guarantee you he did not stop. He stopped when Father Time caught up with him, and he no longer had the means by which of doing what he was doing, the physical means. I also can tell you for a fact that the desire never left his soul, the desire to hurt. I don't believe he chose elderly women, particularly because he was attracted to them, although that may be it. I think it was the ability for him to be able to overpower them. It was all about control. It was all about power. It was all about domination. And it was all about experiencing and feeding off of the helplessness of the victim. That's his MO. Let's keep going.
Are other forces involved?
We are liaising with other forces across the country and liaising with our colleagues in the National Crime Agency to understand what we can more about Ryland Hedley, his whereabouts, his movements, his employment, anything we can, so that if there is an opportunity to identify further offences, now that we know more about him, we've got a full set of his fingerprints, palm prints, we've got the latest and greatest DNA sample from him. Are there any other crime scene stains, fingerprint marks, palm print marks, partial DNA profiles?
Yeah, and this guy worked for the railroad too. So you got to look at that whole line. If that line happened to go right across, bisect the UK, you got a whole country you got to investigate. He worked for the railroads too. If he was traveling because of work along that rail line, your whole country has to be investigated. Guarantee you, from shore to shore, you got to investigate, because these guys don't stop. They don't stop until you make them stop or life stops them.
That he could be compared to directly.
But what I was going to refer to was your previous convictions from 1977, which was two separate incidents of rapes with a very similar circumstances involving elderly women.
Has he ever answered questions about why he did what he did? Has he been asked those questions?
In interview for our investigation, he was asked. He just gave a no comment interview. There was nothing given away, no remorse, no explanation, nothing.
I think he's a coward. I think he would have gone to his deathbed, not ever telling anyone what he had done. There would have been no closure for anyone, and I think that's horrific.
It could be argued that he got one over on the criminal justice system in 1977 when he got that life sentence reduced to 7 years on the grounds he'd never done anything like that before.
Yeah, that is a very good way of summing it up.
Yes.
Yeah. He conned the justice system, but he's got his comeuppance now.
Yeah. Listen, no system
Mary
is perfect.
Dainton.
No system is perfect. We'll stop it here. I don't like playing videos to the very end. I mean, we reacted to this entire video, which is not something that we typically do because I like to respect other people's content. So this is rare for us. We don't do that much on this channel. But I'm not going to play it to the last minute. You could at least go watch that last minute for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you guys immensely for joining me today. I think this was really sad. It really stood out to me. And I said, man, I got to cover this, man, because I wanted to give hope out there. Part of the reason why I covered this particular story is not for its salaciousness or I think it would be entertaining or have, just for hope. The hope that justice can be served no matter how much time elapses. And there's a lot of people out there who have not yet gotten justice. Some of them haven't sought justice, and if you haven't sought it, then we can't give it to you because you never brought it to society to try and deal with. Others have tried to seek justice, and maybe the case went unsolved or whatever, but I just wanted to give hope that there's always hope. And I also wanted to put it out there for the bad guys that may be just like this guy who's watching this channel, watching other things and watching the news and thinking that they got away with it, that there's no guarantee that you got away with it. You might be on your deathbed and there might be a cop coming in that room, slapping cuffs on your wrists and saying, hey, listen, we know you got 5 more minutes to live, but you're going to spend that 5 minutes knowing that we know it's you and we got you. This guy was 92 years old. And he's a strong 92 years old, a healthy 92 years old. And he's spending those strong 92 years old of health in prison. He's going to spend the rest of his days in jail. And he's going to know for a fact that he didn't get away with it. And you know what, man? One would think that, like they said in this documentary, that he got a one-up on the system, right? But in the back of his head, he always knew what he did. And there's a possibility they were going to come for him. And that alone is a stress. It's a scarlet letter that he had to carry. It's not like he lived his life free of thought, like, oh, I did nothing wrong, I'm good. No, he knew in the back of his head that moment was going to come, and eventually that moment came, and now he's paying for it. So guys, I really appreciate you guys joining me. Happy 4th of July once again. Celebration to the independence of the United States of America. To all my fellow Americans out there, I love being a part of this country, and I know that you do too. So that being said, go check out our merch. We got a merch store. Go definitely support the channel. To all the new members and Patreon members, congratulations. Welcome to the family. I'll see you guys on the next one. We cue up that outro. Strategic is out of here. Peace.